Here we go.
Here we go. Why do I look so much closer than you?
What? Oh.
Connor, if we had gotten the microphone in the mail that I ordered,
know.
this would be so much better.
We're getting that microphone first thing next week,
It
though.
might even, I'm going to check. I ordered it. Like, I ordered one. I didn't order all the ones I wanted. I ordered one because my daughter told me I was being extra. Like, I don't feel like I'm extra because I wanted the microphone with the soundboard and the headphones.
We all got to treat ourselves.
So I bought
Treat
one
yourself.
that's like a digital mic so we can travel with it and not be constrained to the office.
The confines of the office building.
The confines
Especially
of the office.
since it's a beautiful day.
Right. So
Beautiful Friday.
beautiful. And I thought about walking outside, but I was like, we don't have the microphone, so like people aren't going to hear us with the wind.
We just got to deal with what we have.
Did I tell you I also ordered the lavalier mic?
You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that.
It was an add-on
How
for
many
like
things
for
did
like
we get?
like $14. I mean, the add-on cost like less than $14. Maybe it was $14.
$14 is
It's
fine.
totally realistic.
You could probably
because-
go to McDonald's twice.
But it pairs with the digital one, so totally worth it. So, now that you see how our minds work here in the office, it's Friday. I like to call it Freedom Friday because, I mean, we're free this Friday, for one, not to go to court.
We're basically free.
I mean, we're not wearing suits,
Absolutely
so we're
not.
good. I'm drinking my tea with, hey, and thanks, Terry, for this cup. That's what I do. I drink and I know things. It is so Game of Thrones, and I love it.
A Jones and Associates law, the weekend has basically started.
Yes. So, Connor, you had an interesting thing you wanted to talk about today about family law.
I did. I wanted to talk about the concept of separation in Pennsylvania and how it relates to other states.
Well, let's start with the fact that people come in a lot and they say to us, I need a legal separation. And we have to tell them there's no such thing in Pennsylvania.
There's no such thing as a legal separation in Pennsylvania. You know, normally when people come in, normally the first step, more often than not, is you file an initial complaint.
Well, let's see. When we meet with them, a lot of times we'll say, okay, look, under the law, you can have what we call a C divorce. There's a C and D. I tell people this. The only law lesson you have to get. C means basically both parties consent, and D means, hey, one of you consents and the other one's sick of the other. You know, whatever, right?
D, there's a couple more papers. C is easy peasy, though. C
Easy
is
peasy?
like, you both just want to be done.
Right.
You both just want to be done with each other. Let's sign it. Let's consent to this. Let's move forward. Boom.
Hey, Aisha, glad you're watching. So the thing about this is that one of the things you have to do under the C divorce, or even the D divorce, actually, it's more important with the D, because you can't just go divorcing people without their consent unless you've been living separate and apart for at least a year. Now, it used to be 2 years, well, it used to be 3 years ago, but it's been 2 years for a while. And now people are used to this concept of 1 year. But they don't understand what that means when I say there's no legal separation. How do they prove that they've been separated for a year?
Well, let's talk about being separated. You can still live in the same home with the person you are trying to get a divorce from.
I wish this worked with my kids. Like, listen, I live in the household with you, but I am no longer responsible for buying your expensive clothing and all that food that you like to eat.
And like Jackie said, there could be numerous factors. You could not sleep in the same bed. You guys could sleep on different levels. You guys could even have separate financial accounts. Just as long as you have one of those, that basically says, hey, I do not like this person. I am not together with this person.
Right.
You can use that to show you are separated.
Now, does that mean that someone can just go in, we were together last week and we just had a brand new baby, and you say we're separate and apart? No, because obviously the notices give you a right to challenge whether or not the separation exists, whether or not grounds exist. In those cases, there may be a special master appointed. I've been appointed as special master on several occasions to determine whether or not grounds existed for a divorce.
How is that, Jackie?
Well, I wanted people to call me Judge Jackie, but apparently they don't. Okay, they totally don't. You know, these people have managed to work it out without me in most of those cases. So I was like, already, I'm scheduling a hearing, and you need to have X, Y, and Z. I've also had times where I filed it. In one of them, I had a particularly nasty person serving as a master.
Oof.
I still don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, let me get back to being nice, Jackie. So...
I say it. I
said
didn't
nothing.
say it.
You heard no words, and you know why? Because we don't have that digital microphone here
Not
that I
yet.
totally ordered.
Thank God. There was a reason why
That's a
it
reason.
didn't come in yet.
That's a reason.
Re-
So, I mean, you can still prove that you are living separate apart, and you can still be divorced if for some reason, I don't know, neither of you have a couple $100,000 to buy your own house, right? Sometimes you need the divorce to go through to get money transferred from one place to another, so I need this money so that I can go buy my own place.
mm-hmm.
Or you guys are fighting over who gets to keep it, and some, jailhouse lawyer, I mean, not a real jailhouse lawyer, but those people, I know because my cousin's friend's uncle's sister is a lawyer. They said to me that you can't leave the house because that's abandonment. Well, guess what? You beat my behind and I need to leave the house, I'm leaving the house, and I'm not abandoning Jack. So there's always a way, if you're acting honestly, that your lawyers can try to make the case for why you were right to do what you did.
That's 100% right. Now, let's say that you want to move out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You want to move out. You want to start tolling, saying, okay, I moved out on this certain date. Now, a lot of our clients, they live in Delaware County. Further, they have a lot of friends that might live in states that are very close by to Delaware County.
That's right.
They live in New Jersey, Delaware. Let's say that your marriage was in Pennsylvania and you lived with your spouse in Pennsylvania, but you're like, listen, my best friends are in New Jersey. They're in Delaware.
Right.
Can we just address whether or not, hey, like, you can go live in New Jersey or you can go live in Delaware, and what are the consequences?
You can live where you want, but that doesn't mean you can have a divorce wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important because I'm not necessarily going to submit to jurisdiction somewhere else if I still live here, right? And your spouse wouldn't either. So you can live your life. We don't tell people not to live their lives, but we want them to be realistic. Also, sometimes people want to know, can they buy things? Can I buy a house? Can I buy a car? Is it mine? Is it theirs? Well, sometimes the best thing to do, since there's no legal separation, is to go ahead and file that divorce. If you file the divorce on August 3rd and you buy the house in November, it's pretty good evidence that you were not together with this person at the time it was purchased.
It is very good evidence. And what does the court look for? What do people, they look for credibility. They look for all the factors, taking in all the factors, saying, listen, I was not with this person. I am separated from this person.
Now, you can do what you want, and we tell people, we're not going to stop you from living your lives. However, if you take our advice, you have a better case. Things
Much
work better, So that's how we do. We try to help you out with that. We try to give you options. We want you to know all the cool ways that you can protect yourself in what is really a not very good situation. I don't know anyone who thinks divorce is a wonderful thing. And, we're joking about it to make it kind of lighthearted. But, we spend a lot of times with people crying. See, I've moved the tissues out of the way.
Yes, and which I actually have to buy more tissues for the office.
I'll buy some too.
Something
Whatever.
I have to do.
But, yeah, people, it's upsetting.
Yeah.
It's upsetting. So, let's talk about when divorce is not an option. We've seen the news recently, and apparently for some people, murder is what you do when you don't want to be married anymore.
Murder is not good. We would highly recommend that if you're looking at either divorce or murder, that you should probably just go with a divorce.
Go with the divorce. Go with a divorce. And and let's be clear, before you go on national television asking for the people to return your spouse and children in a way that clearly is ridiculous sounding. I hope you come home. What was that guy thinking? You can't do that. You talk to a criminal defense lawyer. I would have said, shut up. He lost so much credibility with that.
He lost so much credibility, but luckily, if he came to us, we're both family and criminal defense.
Right, and we would have referred him first to the divorce before the murder.
Yes.
But
he didn't come for the consultation.
He didn't come. And not only that, then he says, my wife, she killed the kids, and she strangled them to death. And I was so enraged by that I strangled her. Now, I'm not trying to tell you how to lie to the police. I'm just saying this. You're talking manslaughter, maybe a murder 3. But defense of others is a complete defense. So if he said that I came upon her as she was strangling the kids and I was pulling her off, and that in the course of trying to stop her from murdering my child,
she happened to die.
She happened to die. Unfortunately, my child also died. That actually might be a defense to murder. But I was so enraged that she murdered my kids, which, by the way, do you believe that?
I don't really believe that.
We don't believe it.
We just
You don't believe it.
here.
It's hard too because clients tell us some stories that are
Little far-fetched. Little far-fetched.
and you say, look, sweetie, look, would you even believe this if you told us? Like our favorite one recently, I didn't know that was meth in there. I thought it was crack.
Like, I didn't know there was a pipe that was this big. I just didn't feel it.
I didn't feel the pipe in my bed. I didn't feel the pipe or the crack at first. But later I thought it was crack, but it turns out to be meth. Either way, I was like, listen, we work for you. We can only fix what we acknowledge, and I feel like when you say things like that, no one's going to believe you.
Yeah.
And we sound foolish saying that.
And at the end of the day, if it ever comes to a trial, it doesn't necessarily matter what we think. It matters if a jury is going to believe that story.
And we're every man, every woman. Like we know what juries think because we think this stuff. So we just kind of expect,
We kind of expect some questions.
Something.
We kind of expect some questions. And we all know how juries tend to think. If there's an ounce of doubt in their story, then it means that they're guilty. It's not necessarily right.
Right.
But it's just how the mind thinks.
Yeah. Now, since we've moved on to murder.
Yes.
The case of Molly Tibbetts. And it's been awful because, we all watched that family searching for her. This whole Fitbit. And I mean, her boyfriend, I appreciate how they said multiple times he was not a suspect because we know what would happen to that young man's life.
Yeah.
As people for weeks thought he was the one who hurt her, even though he was more than 100 miles away. But Connor and I have been talking about this because as much as I don't like to talk politics on the podcast or the Facebook Lives or any of these things, Connor says, look, this is really something important to talk about because this has become more than just a murder story. It's become like a lightning rod about immigration and race and
especially
things.
Having worked in a farm worker legal aid clinic where we had clients who would be out in rural Pennsylvania, Adams County, Chester County. You go to these places, you get to meet these people, you interact, you see where they live, you meet their family, and you talk to them. And these are hard-working, great people.
I mean, these aren't jobs that I would do. I mean, this is, I have not even, my own, it sounds so bougie as I'm saying it, but I was like, my garden looks a mess right now. I'm like, I haven't even dug up the grass that somehow got in there. So the work they're doing is hard.
It is hard.
Labor intensive.
And there's a lot of, there's even mushroom farms in our own backyard. You look at Kennett Square. They produce the most mushrooms, or at least they're one of the towns in the United States of America that produce the most mushrooms.
And so there are a lot of immigration issues that come up. One with people who are coming here trying to work legitimately, or people say they should follow our laws. Well, we don't even know our laws. And so if someone says on my live video, like, Celia, get off my phone. So awful. But we're in the middle of situations where we don't always know the laws. We don't know everything surrounding it. I've had friends, like she married a guy who was come years ago. They grew up together, sort of. He was an immigrant. And so she thought, it's so easy to get him citizenship. He's a doctor. I'm a lawyer. We thought we'd go take some pictures of our wedding and stuff and go, here you go. And they found the process to be so onerous. She's like, I think I need to hire a lawyer. Like, I'm like, yeah, but we're in law school together. She's like, yeah, it was horrible. It was hard. So imagine when you come from a place where maybe it's war-torn or you have poverty and someone says, I can take you to America. And, and people think the land is flowing with milk and honey in America. There's work for everyone. Jobs.
And safety.
And safety.
Safety is one of the most important things.
Kids.
When I worked in a farm worker clinic, a lot of the times we had a lot of young mothers with kids. And they were in Central America. A lot of times they come from Honduras, Guatemala.
Right.
And what they do is they hire a coyote to get them across the border. Yes, there is an actual lingo for hiring someone to get you across the border because you're so fearful, you don't have a lot of time to think, and you just want to get out.
Right.
And if you're going across the border, it doesn't really suddenly occur to you, hey, let me see how I fill out this application process. Your mind is focused on the safety for you and your kids and focus on getting a better life and actually putting that into, process.
Right. Now, I'm obviously not saying that's the murderer, the accused murderer. I don't know. I don't know how he got here. I don't know the situation. But we were talking about the fact that people made this young woman's death about
political propaganda.
About Mexican aliens in a wall specifically. Like, I don't care if he came from Canada. I don't care if he came from North Dakota. homicide is a horrible thing. The child's death is a horrible thing. Her family is grieving. And I don't think we should politicize it and make it about race or any of those sort of
Absolutely
things,
not.
or make it about the illegal alien debate. I think that we should be focusing on how do we prevent these senseless murders, and you know, especially of young women. I mean,
Yeah.
we're vulnerable when we go out doing basic things like running. You
No.
know, you got your Fitbit on, you want to go and be healthy, and you can't even do that in our society.
You can't even do that without fearing, well, what could happen.
Yeah, that scares me.
And it doesn't even matter the area.
Yeah,
It doesn't even, you know, a lot of people associate crime with probably inner city.
right.
You know, but like this happened in a cornfield.
I mean,
She was jogging
wow,
in rural Ireland.
right?
You know.
So anywhere, I mean, the safety issue to me is not about whether or not he was from Mexico or elsewhere. It's about making sure our people are safe.
Pardon me?
Wow, we had someone, a visitor. I don't know who that was. Though.
We have no idea.
We have no idea. So, hey, I mean, we're so popular. People are showing up to watch the podcast.
That's the
Facebook
kind of Fridays
Live,
that we have at Jones and Associates.
They're
Live.
watching us live. So, anything else we need to?
No, I mean, unless you wanted to talk about murder versus manslaughter and these awful crimes, but we can just save that for another podcast.
We'll save it for another one.
so
because
people can come back and watch this amazing
we also
podcast.
put out there earlier this week questions and answers. We have some questions that people have asked us, and not enough yet. As soon as we get a couple more questions, we're going to go live and we're going to tell you all the answers you're looking for free. You got lawyers working for free. You should take it.
Free.
Okay, so thanks a lot for watching.
See you, everybody.
And we'll
See
see
you
you
next
later.
Friday.
Thank you then.
Have a good weekend.
All right, bye-bye. I wonder if that is...